Hey, how's it going, guys? Zach here, and today I'm bringing you a completely different video than to what I've normally posted up to this point. It's been a while since I posted my last video, and I think at some point in that video, or maybe the one before, I mentioned something about how I was gonna go on a trip. And this will be the first video in probably a series of a few videos. I don't know how many I'm gonna do yet, but this is the first one in that series where I'm gonna be in a completely different state, as well as a completely different country, even though I've been to that country before. But it is a part of that country that I've never been to before, and I'm super excited to be going because it's been on, I think, the top of my bucket list for I don't know how many years. It's been years. I've had this travel bucket list forever, and it's been in the number one spot for years. So I'm really excited to be going to that location, but I'll reveal those details a little bit later. But for this part of the video anyway, I do want to mention that the first part of my trip is going to be a little bit more domestic. It's going to be in a different state. And that state is Montana. I've been planning this trip now for I started planning this out maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, and I wasn't really sure on how long I was going to be doing this for. I didn't know if I wanted it to be a few days, if I wanted it to be a week, whatever it might be. And at the time, it seemed like a good idea to do 1 week, and part of me is kind of regretting it just because of how much everything was adding up to cost-wise. And I don't think I'll do this again in the same way. I'll probably do it a little bit differently and be a little bit more cautious with how much I spend, where I'm going to be staying, that kind of thing. Try to budget a little bit more because I kind of went all out on this trip just so that way I can visit these places that I've been wanting to visit for some time now. So overall, this trip is going to be about 2.5 weeks. I think 17 days from the day that I leave to the day that I come back. I'll be spending, I think it's 6 nights over in Montana, and then I fly over to my next destination, which I think is 9 nights. And with looking at what the second destination has to offer with the amount of places that I can go and visit and maybe do some hiking or something, or that I can drive around. Given the amount of places, I think it made a lot more sense to do the second part of my trip, or make that part a lot longer in terms of the amount of days that I'll be spending. So at least with that part, I did kind of luck out with it, and I planned kind of accordingly. But to not get into too much detail while I'm talking, doing this intro, what I'll be doing when I get to Montana is I'm going to be exploring the Glacier National Park area, going up into the mountains, visiting some of the lakes. Maybe do some light hiking, not too heavy. I'm not a hiker. I have no experience with hiking. I hiked maybe just like the one time when I went to, I think, North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina last year, and that was maybe like a small 2-hour, like in a circle kind of hike. Like the trail just kind of looped back around on itself, taking about a couple of hours or so to do that. So it wasn't that bad, and there wasn't much of an elevation change. So I wasn't really all that exhausted, nor was my family. But given that I'm going now to actual mountains, it kind of you have like the Rockies, and you have like some of the mountain ranges that are kind of related, but also kind of separate at the same time. I still won't be doing that, that much intense hiking. I'll try to find some small trails, but that are still scenic enough that will make this trip kind of worth it. But I'm not going to do anything that's too extreme. Now, it's going to be pretty cold in Montana. I think right now, as I'm looking at the weather over the last couple of days, it's been kind of consistently in the lower 60s, upper 50s at the highest, and then into the 30s, like mid to upper 30s at the lowest. And I would assume that that's going to be at night, which means that I'm going to be packing a little bit warm. I do have some hoodies. I did bring a heavy jacket just in case it got too cold and I needed something for that specifically. But if I'm going to be doing some hiking, I think that having a light jacket, maybe a somewhat kind of thick hoodie just in case, should be plenty. But I don't know how hot and sweaty I'll be underneath the layers of clothes versus while I'm out hiking, compared to what the weather is actually like. Even though the weather might be, let's say, in the mid 50s, and it might be cold enough for a light jacket, when you're out hiking, you're burning calories, your body temperature is going to go up, and with wearing layers on top of that, it's going to get pretty toasty under all those layers. So I think for the days that I plan on trying to go hiking, I will wear maybe like a thin shirt underneath, whether it's a short sleeve or a long sleeve. I'm not too sure yet. I'll bring a couple of t-shirts just in case. I am bringing some light tops. And then when it comes to shoes, I'm bringing a pair of sneakers and a pair of boots. I think the sneakers should be enough. I'm not gonna go too heavy on the shoes. I think having the two should be just enough. The boots are not hiking boots, but they're more like heavy duty, like cold weather boots. They're not necessarily for being outdoors, but they do have great tread. So if I need to, yeah, I can wear the boots, and they'll be good for light hiking, but not so much if I want to do something that's very for terrain that's very rocky, the minimum that it could be, right? I think those would be best for that, and then the sneakers would be more for those more tricky terrain. So that pretty much is it when it comes to packing. I'm gonna have my camera, of course. I'll be shooting, using a mix of my camera and my phone, because there are gonna be times where I'm gonna be trying to shoot something with my camera, and I want to talk to you guys and insert something into the vlog. So using my phone would be a way to be able to do both. Even though my camera has clearly the better quality, I think that my iPhone 15 Pro Max should do a pretty good job with that. And I'm also bringing my GoPro. I think at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring my GoPro, but I think if there is a place that I can go skiing or snowboarding, I'm probably gonna go do it. I'm not just gonna sit around on days where, okay, I've already exhausted myself with hiking. Let me do something a little bit different. Let me go skiing, or let me go snowboarding, whatever it might be. So I thought, since the camera is kind of heavy and it's not exactly compact, and I can hold it in one hand and it weighs 100 grams, I think that having the GoPro for a situation like that should be a lot of fun. The only thing that I don't have, though, that for some reason I can't find, is my suction cup attachment for my GoPro, so that way I can put it in the rental car and do like a time lapse when I'm driving through certain areas, which would be really nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it from when I'm packing. I should be good. So I'm actually recording this the night before I leave on my trip. Today is October 11th, it's Wednesday. I leave tomorrow, October 12th, Thursday. My flight leaves at 2:43 out of the Fort Lauderdale airport. And then yeah, I go on my little adventure. So this is actually a solo trip. I didn't mention that before. This is a solo trip. I'm not going with anyone, but I wanted it to be a solo trip because I'm 25. I think I'm old enough to be able to do things like this on my own. And in the future, if I want to go somewhere and no one else can go, then this will give me good experience, I guess, for traveling alone. Well, traveling within the United States is not too bad. At least you're in a place that's familiar. Even going to my second location would still be kind of familiar territory, but at least I don't think that country has like weird stuff going on. I wouldn't say that they're total strangers, but I still feel comfortable traveling there. So now, if it's one thing, if I was going to Europe instead, like where it's cultures are different, languages are different, that's a different story. I think for that I would be more prepared first before traveling there. But yeah, this is a solo trip. I initially maybe would have wanted at least one person to go, a friend, family, whatever it might be. I think I'm happy that I'm doing this as a solo trip. Doing this solo means that I can control where and when I want to go, how I want to go, what I want to do. And I think it's going to be a great experience for me. So I'm happy that I'm doing this. I'm a little nervous. Don't get me wrong, I'm a little nervous, but I think once I get on that plane, I'm gonna feel pretty good. I'm gonna feel confident. It's gonna feel like I've traveled before, just without someone to talk to during the whole time. To talk to, hang out with, whatever. Like it's gonna be me by myself, sitting in a hotel room at night and going out on adventures throughout the day. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope I get a lot of knowledge and experience out of this. Without boring you guys to death with this intro, the rest of the video is gonna be just some B-roll stuff, and then I'll do a proper sign off when I get there. I'll see you guys in a little bit. So here I am. I made it. I survived. I lived. God, what a torturous last few hours. My God. Anyway, here sitting in my hotel room, I'm sitting at the desk that they have here, just kind of getting everything kind of unpacked, or at least have my suitcases open so that way I can just pick stuff out of it much more easily. I'm going to try to not be as loud as I want to right now, because I don't know if I have any next door neighbors, and it's a conjoined room. There's a door that leads into the next room, so I don't know how much it dampens the noise. But I'm here, I'm alive, and it is 11:47 Mountain Daylight Savings Time, and I'm ready to go to sleep. I don't plan on doing much tomorrow because it's been kind of a long day with both of my flights having been delayed. I think the second flight was delayed just because the first one was delayed, but I'll tell you more of that story in the next video, because right now I just want to do a quick little sign off here before I go ahead and get into bed. But yeah, it's just been a long day of traveling, and I almost lost my jacket. I was afraid that I was going to miss my second flight, but then that ended up not being the case. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but everything was pretty smooth for the most part, which is good. Now for tomorrow, what I think I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to go out and drive to the mountains or drive into one of the national parks and do something there. I think what I'll do for tomorrow is, since it is kind of late, I don't want to try to get up early at 5-6 o'clock in the morning just to do the things that I came here to do. So I'm gonna hang around town for tomorrow, see what kind of stuff they have going on, check out some of the local stores, local restaurants, anything really that catches my attention, and that'll be my day for tomorrow. And then for Saturday, I will drive up to Lake McDonald and spend the day there. So I won't record or I won't vlog anything for tomorrow, but for Saturday, when I actually start to do stuff, I will for sure vlog that. So it's gonna be not a long day tomorrow, but it might be a long day on Saturday for me. But yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my contacts out and get ready to go to sleep. I'm very tired. I don't have the energy to be doing this right now. So I will see you guys in the next video, where we will be exploring in and around Lake McDonald. Until next time, see ya.